The time is 2:15 p.m. And this is a regular meeting of the City of Warrenell Industrial Development Agency. And myself as chairperson, I'm calling this meeting to order. Present, myself, Dave Parmalee, vice chairperson, Edward Blight, treasurer and chief financial officer, John Buckley, assistant secretary, John Carbone, secretary, Sean Hogan, executive consultant, Jim Griffin, executive director and CEO, Marjorie Frangillo, administrative assistant, Barbara Parrott, administrative assistant, John Dagan, agency counsel, Chris Potter is on conference call, Evening Tribune and Spectator. We do have a majority to conduct business. First order of business, minutes of the preceding meeting, Secretary John Carbone.
I'll accept the motion to, everybody had any question on the secretary's part, but I'll accept the motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by
John Buckley
Carbone,
and Dave Parmalee.
Buckley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report was distributed via email. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. If not, I will ask for a motion to approve.
And those are for the months of September, October, November.
Yeah, so 3 months worth.
Roll call vote for approval. Motion is made by you, second by Dave Parmalee. Roll call vote. Dave Parmalee.
Yes.
Ed Flights.
Yes.
John Buckley.
Yes.
Sam Naska, yes. John Carbone.
Yes.
That motion carries. Treasurer's report. Dave Parmalee?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Accept the treasurer's report for September, October, November. Motion by Dave Parmalee, second by John Carbone. Roll call vote.
We just went through it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
asked
we did
for
that treasurer's
Yeah.
report.
What's that?
We did that treasurer's report twice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we skipped over that, yeah. That was the treasurer. Now we're into the audit committee.
Right,
committees.
committee reports.
Yeah.
Audit committee report for the months of September, October, November. John Carbone?
Yes, in September, we paid bills totaling $31,340.93. In October, we paid bills of $45,820.29. Out of the escrow account, we paid $98,317.62. In November, we paid bills totaling $37,146.25. Out of the escrow account in November, we paid $18,100.
Okay, you've heard the report of the audit committee for the months of September, October, November.
I have just a comment. The escrow account of which you speak is taxes that we pay to the taxing authority. So
Pilots.
yeah, the 2 months, the taxes that we paid to the taxing authorities were $116,000.
Okay, you've heard the report from the audit committee. Motion to accept. Motion by Ed Blight, second by John Buckley. Roll call vote. Dave Parmalee?
Yes.
Ed Blight?
Yes.
John Carbone?
Yes.
John Buckley?
Yes.
Myself, yes. That motion carries. Personnel Committee, Dave, do you have anything?
I have nothing to report.
Okay, Governance Committee, I just would like to comment that the legislature will come back within 2 weeks with super majorities in both houses, and I don't know what that means, but they're confronting a $60 billion deficit for the next 3 years, and tremendous revenue shortfalls, which is going to make the upcoming session certainly a interesting session, as they'll be looking for both revenues and money for the various agency needs. It'll be, there's, in reviewing the pre-filing legislation, there's a number of legislative initiatives relating to IDAs, both good and bad. And I'm sure the New York State Economic Development Council will be advising you of those legislative pieces. It's a battle of finding revenue right now, and it'll be an interesting session, so we all look forward to that. And because there'll be a lot of issues that affect our agency. I know our agency is poised to attack all of these issues and find funding for our various projects, because that'll be the highlight of all economic development. We'll be finding funding for the projects. So it'll be an interesting session, and we'll keep her praised. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds like there's nothing in that worldwide package that they're finalizing today or tomorrow. There's nothing there.
The
for
federal?
city. Yeah, there's nothing there
Not
for federal
for,
or state.
not for states or local governments.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's,
The original legislation had 160 billion, well, 152 if you take out the 8 billion for the tribals. But that has since, they've since broken apart into 2 pieces of legislation, which is a signal that it's not going anywhere, because they broke it off from everything else and had it separate. But I'm told that it's pretty much dead in the water.
Oh, boy. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the
gonna,
only-
that's gonna hurt terrible.
the major sources of revenue that they're looking at is marijuana and the millionaire's tax, but also the stock, there's a stock tax that is waived on stockholder purchases that would really contribute considerably, but the governor's against it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what'll happen is he'll end up, the governor or the legislature will end up cutting aid to school districts, to cities, villages. Then that downward pressure will create a situation where those taxing entities will have to either reduce services or raise taxes or some combination of the two. But, you know, it's increasingly
there's a
difficult
strong-
to do, as, you know, Sean, as you well know.
there's,
You know, personnel wise, there's not a whole lot to work with, you know, the city, I know this isn't a council meeting, but the city level, you know, we're down 3 people in the DPW from a year ago today. You know, a year ago today, we had 3 more full-time bodies. And, you know, due to retirements, in COVID, we had to replace those, so it's, you know, you don't wanna cut public safety. And, you know, then you get into the water plant and the filter, or the wastewater plant, they have small groups anyway, so it's, you know, it's very difficult. So it's going to be a struggle this year.
For sure.
there's strong support from the Senate and the Assembly for both of those issues, the stock tax waiver and the millionaire's tax, but like I say, the governor's not in favor of either one, so where we go with it, is a matter of, whose arms he can twist. Which,
As usual.
he's good at that. Okay, executive director's report, Jimmy.
Okay, couple of things. We, a couple of weeks ago, we were approached by Bassett, up at the developer up at the airport, asked to extend their sales tax exemption on materials for another 2 years. They've fallen behind substantially with the building. They got 2 more buildings to build up there. And it was, they wrote us a nice letter and told us that it was, you know, it was all COVID related. They can't get materials, material costs have soared. And telling me about 2 or 4 by 4 pieces of plywood that they use, you know, to put on the siding of those buildings was like $4 a sheet, and now it's $28 a sheet. So we granted them, we have the power to grant them an exemption like that. So I can do an exemption for them, and if they ask for another one, then they come back to the board. So I just gave it to them. They needed it right away. So that was a 2-year exemption. The other thing that I have is we've been working, Sean and I and everybody else has been working hours on getting together the project, which is the site development work for our project that we approved almost a year ago to borrow the money from REDAC, $650,000. 680,000 we agreed to borrow from REDAC. In fact, the borrowing is supposed to be completed this week. And that money was to be used for us to do work on our site up there, north of the motor shop, where if you go up there, you'll see it's uneven and everything's our idea was to go in there, straighten that site up and make it a good industrial site. That's still our purpose in this project. So we have contracted, or a contract ready to go with Chase. We put it out to bid. They were the low bidder, and we're going to do a lot of work up there, not specific work for anybody, just the site development work. And so that should get started within the next week or so. So I'll be asked, I want Sean to explain the project to you, and then we'll ask for a resolution to authorize me to sign a contract with them to go ahead and do the work. Sean?
As you're aware, we've been discussing this, we contracted through a resolution with Fagan Engineers to do some site planning and do some of the necessary regulatory work, such as stormwater, SWIFT, stormwater drainage plan, and also the seeker, which they are continuing to work on. What we have is LaChase had, during the process, there was a number of contractors, LaChase, Streeter, and Pike all submitted quotes to do this work, but we have scaled back the some of the work, and LaChase submitted a revised quote, because they were the low bidder, and it's $498,191. A lot of the earthwork is going to consist, that cost is $302 and $302,500. And the earthwork is just clearing that, there's a old debris field there, clearing that out, establishing a uniform elevation of the lot, and everything that is taken off that site will be kept on site, and they'll have a common area where they'll kind of have a scrub waste lot, and then they'll work to rebuild the berm with what's they've taken off of there, which also includes they'll be removing unsuitable materials, any hard items, organic items they find, they'll take to the landfill. But right now, Jim and I spoke to Fred Thompson of LaChase. I said, you're still prepared to move dirt up there? They are. And this is for the Shawmut Park site ready project, site improvements for a potential project. At this point in time, we don't know what that project will be, but we're hopeful, regardless of what it will be, we'll have a site that's ready, shovel ready for any particular project. But they're ready to begin, and they would start as soon as the contract is signed. That's why Griff is going to ask for authorization for him, to authorize him to sign the contract. They'll start, and the contract will complete by June 1.
Talked to Fred today, and we got an understanding that he's not gonna raise the price because he has to move snow. I got a promise from
Have you done the seeker?
him.
Yeah, the seeker right now, let me give you an idea what's going on. The seeker process is ongoing, but we've applied for a temporary work permit because we're not building anything. So Fagan has applied to DEC for a temporary permit to start earthwork because we're just moving dirt right now. We're not digging foundations, we're not doing anything. So we're just preparing a potential site ready. So we don't have to have a complete seeker at this point. If there's ever a project, then we'll have to have a complete seeker. So we've been very mindful of it and working with Fagan, and Fagan has been working with DEC, and they're well aware of what's going on.
The other thing to remind you of was when we passed a resolution authorizing applying for that money from Street Act back 8 months ago, 10 months ago, whatever it was. It's a borrowing by the IDA of that amount of money to be paid back to Street Act. And the terms of that are 1% interest for 20 years, 20-year payback. Now, the caveat to that is if we sell any of the land, or we develop any of the land, or we lease any of the land, we'll pay that portion back. So if we ever had a tenant that wanted to buy 5 acres of that land, when we sold it to them, we would put that on pay that back toward the mortgage. So it is a borrowing at this stage of the game, as we're all aware. So.
Yeah, so they're ready to go, they're prepared to start. The first thing they do, will bring in a trailer, temporary power. They'll fence off the site, and then they'll begin their necessary earth movement. Right now, the frost hasn't penetrated the ground to an extent where it would prevent them from doing it. They can still do it, and they plan on doing it. So once you pass that resolution, the contract will be signed, they'll start immediately.
If you drive up there, you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
So
We're
it's
talking about
basically a general manufacturing site. correct?
Well, yeah, it's
No, I mean, anything.
just site improvement.
whatever you decide to
Yeah.
put there.
Right.
But if you drive up there, you can see from the motor shop north to an area that's all nice and level.
Yeah, it's just that section of unusable
Right.
ground right now that we're clearing and
We're
prepping
clearing and
for a
cleaning it.
potential project. So I think it makes good sense to do it, and, you know, if we can do it during the winter, you know, more
Yeah,
about
that's
that,
time to do it.
get it out of the way early.
Jim, that 20-year
Oh,
payback, does that start right away, or do we get?
Now you get 3 years, no payment. So we would need a resolution authorizing us to sign a construction contract with Chase in accordance with their contract of $498,000, just under $500,000.
Okay, we need a resolution authorizing our executive director and executive consultant to enter into a contract for $498,000 to complete the general
Site
shovel-ready
improvements.
site. Motion by John Carbone, second by John Buckley. Roll call vote. Dave Barnley,
Yes.
Ed Flex,
Yes.
John Carbone,
Yes.
John Buckley.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Further issues, Mr. Griffin?
That is the end of my report.
Alright. Any further new business, Mr. Griffin?
I have something under old business that I'd like to present to the board.
We'll get into that.
And we've been talking a long time about our chairman, Sam Naskin, who's been with us for 46 years. I had to go back, I went back and looked at the original minutes of the City of Hornell Industrial Development Agency, the first organizational meeting.
Should I leave the room?
You were there, no, you can stay right here. And Sam was one of the first, the only, obviously one on the lot of, and he was appointed treasurer at that time. And then along the way, he became chairman. He'd been chairman for 30-some years. So we thought it was high time that we did something to recognize Sam's dedication to our agency. So let me pass these out to you. These are just, this is just a little, we'll put this in a little better form for you, but this is, you want to see that. It just says that the City of Hornell Industrial Development Agency wishes to honor Sam Naska as a Director Emeritus of our board after 46 years of continuous service, to make Sam Director Emeritus. An Emeritus Director is a board member who is invited to stay on a board as a non-voting member in an advisory capacity. This is an honorific title in recognition of the member's active participation, financial contribution, or continuing strong interest in our organization. Without Sam, this organization would not be where it is today, and he has created a legacy that will last for years or even decades to come. Sam's contribution to the IDA is so great that we can only hope others will aspire to meet the standard Sam has created. Sam,
Thank you so much.
we're very proud of Sam, we also have a little, we have a little memento for you to open.
Totally unexpected, but
I
thank
hope
you
so.
so much. It's appreciated, just the recognition part, because
You deserve it.
it's been a labor of love. Believe it has. It's probably echoing the old John F. Kennedy statement. It's not what the agency could do for me, it's what I could do for the agency.
Well, you've done it.
It's been that way.
Done a fantastic job for us for all these years. Been my right hand, I don't know, I mean, one thing great about Sam, he fired me 2 or 3 times, you know, but along the way, but, you know.
You're still here. You made it through.
And then we always got through.
No, I really appreciate both the commemoration and the position, and I'm not gonna take time to reflect on those 46 years and 8 months at this time, but I would hope that I would have an opportunity at a
Absolutely,
later
yes.
point.
We will have
reflect
a,
on those.
we will have a humdinger as soon as we get out from underneath these masks.
You're not talking about the ice cream time, but.
No, no. Yeah, we'll have an ice cream social.
As I can remember back in the days of the start of this agency, when we were looking for money for postage. They didn't have it for
The chamber left the IDA $2,000 to buy stationery and postage. They didn't have no way to get money.
Very nice,
Here.
very nice.
Maybe it's something that goes with
Here's
it.
what goes with it.
The stand, that's the stand, yeah.
That's just the stand.
Very, very nice.
We know
I've
Sam,
always, had an affection for cats and sometimes exotic ones, and appreciate that.
that's Steuben
Beautiful.
Crystal, and it's, it really is.
Nice.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
It
piece.
is.
That'll be on my desk and,
It's inscribed, and the inscription on the side of it says, Samuel J. Sam Nasca, Chairman, City of Hornell Industrial Development Agency. Sincere appreciation and affection for the 46 years of dedicated service. And there's one of his favorites on top of it.
I actually, just as a side, I've actually devoted a lot of, some of my spare time with some animal, foundations and all the, and other places, and, Jimmy knows my background, apparently.
Did very well.
Thank you so much, guys, I appreciate it, and like I say, I would like an opportunity in the future to reflect upon my 46 years in some kind of a relaxed environment.
We'll do that.
Well, we look forward to it.
Yeah, definitely.
When we come out of
Very much
the COVID cloud that we're currently in.
Thank you.
Yes, I know.
Thank you
Thank
ever
you.
so much.
Okay, Sam, thank you so much for you.
Is there any further business to come before this board?
No, thank you.
If not, a motion to adjourn. Motion Dave Farley, second John Ed White. All those in favor, opposed?
That is
Beautiful.
Thank you.
The, so, Mr. Chairman, you can start the meeting of the Development
I
Corporation.
definitely will. Yeah, those foundations that I have worked, spent some of my time, they've gotten thousands of animals adopted. And that's my primary goal, is to get them adopted by responsible people. Okay, this is a quarterly meeting of the City of Cornell Industrial Development Corporation. Call this order, this agency division, that's to order. The time is 2:44
Be
p.m.
excited, we'll go on and we'll come out.
And so first order of business, I would like to comment that present here today at this corporation meeting is myself, current chairman, Dave Conley, vice chairman, Edward Flights, treasurer and CFO, John Buckley, assistant secretary, John Carbone, secretary, executive consultant Sean Hogan, Chris Potter, spectator in the Evening Tribune by conference call, Jim Griffin, executive director, CEO, Marge Mangill, administrative assistant, Barbara Parrott, administrative assistant, and John Dagan, agency counsel. Secretary's report, John.
Accept the motion to accept the secretary's report?
We'll make the motion.
Motion by John Buckley, second by Dave Parmalee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Treasurer's report.
Again, for September, October, November were distributed via email. I will entertain any questions, comments,
Motion,
motion.
John Buckley, second by John Carbone. Roll call vote, Dave Conley,
Yes.
Ed White,
Yes.
John Carbone,
Yes.
John Buckley,
Yes.
myself, yes. Committee reports. Audit committee. John
We,
Carbone,
we have nothing to report for September, October, or November. Nothing paid out.
thank you. Personnel committee, Dave.
There's nothing to report.
Jack, meeting Barb or not?
Governor committee, I have nothing to
Meeting out
report.
there.
CEO's report, Jim.
Just a quick FYI, the money that we lent out to our businesses back a couple months ago to help some of our businesses, we have had a great response from. Of them, most all of them have already made their payments. I will report that one business has asked for an extension of their payment due to the fact that because of COVID, small business, they were actually closed up for almost 3 months. And so we granted them a 3-month extension right now. But other than that, everybody, it's amazing that they've paid, one's paid in advance, substantially in advance. So apparently it did what we wanted it to do. It's helped out these small businesses. And that was a quarter.
That's a pretty darn good record.
It is. I'm really proud of our businesses, I'll tell you. And it shows that the faith that you guys had in them was well placed.
Well, it shows the dedication, the feelings of those that benefit by it, because it's a normal assumption in loan programs like this, where the recipients feel that it's more of a grant than a loan
Yeah, I know.
to be paid
I know.
back. So I think that's worthy of note
They've done.
that these recipients have paid it back.
Done very well. The other thing is each year in our December meeting, we pass a resolution to authorize donation to 4 entities, and that's the Salvation Army, Turning Point, the Humane Society, and Steuben County Rural Ministries, $1,000 apiece. Steuben Rural Ministries has been absorbed by Turning Point in Hornell. I spoke with them today and asked them, instead of giving $1,000 to Susan, Sister Susan, who did a magnificent job, if we gave it to Turning Point, would it still be used for the same people? And their answer was, the same people are in need down there that were in need when she was there. And the answer is definitely yes, that we definitely would see that money is used for those same people. So I'd ask for a resolution to authorize us to go ahead and put those loans that we've been putting out every year for them.
You've heard the motion by Ed White, John Carbone. This has to be a roll call vote because it's a disbursement of funds. Roll call, Dave Parmalee,
Yes.
Ed White,
Yes.
John Carbone,
Yes.
John Buckley,
Yes.
myself, yes.
And that's all that I have, except to wish you all Merry Christmas. Hopefully next year we'll have a celebratory December meeting instead of this one. And wish you all a Merry Christmas to you and your families.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you and
I want to wish the board a Merry Christmas and a prosperous, let's emphasize
2021, yeah.
prosperous
Yeah,
New Year.
2021, yeah.
Okay,
Same use,
motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, motion by Dave Parmalee, second by John Buckley, all those in